All right, we're going live. A lot of drama, unbelievable amounts of drama and crap. Just doing with what Claire has said is just ridiculous. I mean, her supporting Ego Dick and John Vance and trying to dox me, and then lecturing me and hectoring me about what I need to do. When I should use my name. Just unacceptable. Just unacceptable. You know. It's just the behavior of people is just so rotten. I just can't believe it. Just unbelievable how rotten it all is. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my OBS screen, but hopefully it's going to go back to Hangouts properly here. So you can bring someone else back into this call. Stop screen sharing. No. Yeah, I don't know. It's stressful dealing with these kind of people. Such trash and scum. I don't know. Sometimes just a part of me is like, what the hell is the matter with people? What's the matter with people? There's still a little bit of buffering going on my screen, my stream right now. Just checking on the buffering. Playing a little bit of Aphex Twin in the background. Checking my sound settings one more time. Making sure the stream is going. See who's in the chat. It could be because it's private. I'm going to unprivate this. Privacy, public. See if more people can see what's going on. Refresh this. Make sure we have that going. Yeah, I'm trying to get to show the chat. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to send the email to Brundle here. Sorry, it took 3 or 4 minutes. I had to unprivate it. I'm messing around with a bunch of settings here. I'm sometimes not be a little bit boomer techie-ish. I'm going to send a message. My internet's being slow too. Come on, do what you're supposed to do and compose this thing. I'm trying to get Brundle on here. Just being a pain in the ass. Here we go. I'm streaming. Link to my show. Hangouts video call. Copying the link to share. I'm live. I don't know. I don't like, I've always intended to be public at some point. Claire says I'm not like a real activist or anything. That's just such bullshit. As you can see, I copied the link. I sent it out. But the thing is, like, it's about getting a certain voice and tone and tenor out there. I'm really just sick of activists on the so-called right who are busy discussing things other than what's good for Europeans. Like worrying about non-whites, including Jews. I get all the problems that people allege are going on with them. I've looked at all the arguments. But we have to take care of each other and ourselves. That's what we've done a terrible job at. And we need to change that. Pursuant to that, I'm supporting Brundle and Conops with their recent boycott of appearing on Claire's panels. A lot of what's going on there is simply disgusting. It's simply vile. It shouldn't be. She sides with some of the very worst scum of the earth, like Ego Dick and John Vance, who seem to, be kind of loose on rape. Rape is just such a serious crime. I believe rape and, to some degree, false accusations of rape should be treated with incredible seriousness. Rape is not something to joke about. We have to re-sacralize sex again. I think I have a friend of mine come on stream. I'm asking to see if Zuhair wants to come on. Yep. Sorry, but wonder who else is here. Sure, this is up to anyone else here? So what's going on with my Hangouts video call? There we go. Sorry, I left that screen up a little bit too long. Have to have something warm to drink on a really cold, dreary November day. Oh, so Zuhair. Zuhair might be joining us in a minute, and we're going to talk about the Claire shit show. Man, she's just one awful, awful gal. So I'm going to be looking at my Hangouts here. You know, yeah, I'm on another private chat talking about Anglo-empiricism and Anglo-imperialism. Oh, God. British taking over the world was a disaster. I mean, pretty much the whole Indo-Aryan world from Iran to India on that side of the branch of it to Germany on my side of the branch of it suffered terribly. Yeah. Sorry, it's not more entertaining. I'm more drained. I'm just drained. Just drained from lots of different angles. You know, not a lot of people help me out. It's really pathetic. Let's see if I can. All's fair in love and war, right? Let's see if I can get people over from Claire's to come on my channel. I only got one person watching. You know, it just. Let's see who's watching Claire. I can't stand listening. I won't listen to the sound of anything on Claire. See who's. I'm hoping Brundle want to come on and just talk about all this. I just want to hear Brundle's opinions.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Zoo here? I might have Brundle on here too, because we're talking about all the drama with Claire. It's a big issue.
Yeah,
You've kind of avoided most of it, but I mean, does it get more
that
disgusting than Claire?
that guy doesn't like me. He's not gonna be happy when he sees me
Oh, well, we'll just talk. We'll just talk until then, because I need to be able to talk to him after all the stuff that happened with Claire. Because Claire is supporting people who are trying to dox me,
hangouts. Oh,
and
be
that's
careful.
yeah. So I don't know. I've kind of already been doxed, and no one seems to care. Like, cause I'm really not like
Uh,
some. I'm not an alt writer.
yeah, remove everything from your email. Don't let anything like pictures, videos, documents, everything. Just put it on hard disk or somewhere and remove everything from your email.
Yeah, nothing on my nothing on the email that I use for YouTube would dox me
All right.
or do anything more. I mean, I don't even have an active Twitter or Instagram, so I mean, I don't have any profiles there. I mean, I think I had Instagram a few years ago. It might have gotten hacked into by somebody, and I never used it or deleted it. So I don't have any Instagram pictures anywhere. I don't.
Anyway, so they might get your address. If you have any, email sent with your address in it, they might. If you have pictures, to get pictures, stuff like that.
Could be. I mean,
So make sure you clean up your email. Move everything to a hard disk, external hard disk or USB drive or anywhere, and just delete the entire email messages.
that's good advice. I'll make sure. I'll make sure I go through tonight and make sure all that stuff's archived, just to be sure correctly, because that's not bad advice, and I need to be careful with that. That's why I need a secretary, for fuck's sake. But yeah,
Yeah, we got like 2, 3 Americans today in our company. Like our company, it makes like media contents, not just websites. So the media contents is about um, how does foreigners view our country, like situation, the living here and stuff like that. So there was like 3 dudes from the US. They were like white people. Um,
yeah,
yeah, so they review them for like asking them. But once they publish the video, I'm gonna send you the videos so you can take a look at them. They're not live yet. They're not on the official YouTube channel of the company. So yeah.
yeah. Hold on a second. Someone says the guest audio is low. Stephen James. Groiper approved. Let me just check the audio for a second.
Right.
Is your mic all the way up?
Yeah, it's very high. Who's that? That's Brundle flag.
It's minus 50, minus 40. I don't know why I've had audio trouble. Like I show you capture is on.
My mic.
Yeah, everything of mine is turned on as high as possible.
What's up, white guys?
What's going on, Brundle? Oh, thank God I can talk to you about the Claire stuff, because I don't know. I've just about like the level of just evil of that. Just
It really has gotten to that point, hasn't it?
oh, like I can barely say a word about it. Like I'm just feeling just like I want to vomit thinking about her.
Oh, I know. She's whatever level of witchcraft Jen is on, Claire is 100 times.
Brundle is also soft. God damn it! I've had trouble with my audio, so let me just check. I'm on I show you audio capture, right, for input and for output, and all my volume is turned way up. Sorry about this.
I mean, if everybody's soft, then that person should just up their volume.
Well, let's speak for a second, Brundle. I'm at minus 30 on the mic augs. You speak now.
Test.
Yeah, you're like minus 50. I don't understand that.
Well, I'm on my phone with no gain.
That could be why.
So.
Yes.
Oh, shit. I've had sound problems before, and I thought I'd fixed all this fucking shit just a few minutes ago.
You're using OBS right now?
I'm using OBS.
Zuhair?
That's Zuhair. We were talking.
It's Zuhair.
Yeah, the guy who you hate.
Well,
Hey, you hate me. You hate me, bro.
No, I don't hate nobody. I hate nobody.
I thought we had fixed it, because I was on with Jen privately, and her volume and mine were the same just a minute ago.
I don't know. Well, anyway, I got like 2 minutes, so.
Yeah, this might just be a dirtbag stream.
I have my fucking preview mic. Hold on, let me show you.
Yeah, put on your regular mic, because I'm not really that loud. I mean, I'm at minus 35. You know, when the green thing goes up. Brundle, you talk for a second. See where yours goes up to.
Yo, 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 yo,
Yeah,
yo,
you're at
yo.
minus 50, and I'm at minus 35. So we're 15 decibels different. And I got my I show you audio capture up, my input and output volumes up. I'm at I show you. Got my blue snowball microphone not right next to my mouth. Yeah, I'm sorry. This might not work out. I don't know why. I'm having trouble with this shit. I feel like a fucking old ass boomer.
Yeah. Well, you should probably just use StreamYards or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's the Hangouts or something. Maybe next time I'll have to try. OBS is like supposed to be for the smart people. It's making me feel dumb.
All right. Well, look. I'm just gonna go on record. I gotta go. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna say Claire is Claire will burn in hell. Everyone should avoid Claire Thaw. You know, the fact that, Shankovich is so self-absorbed in his own autism that he can't stay away. And at some point we'll have a final confrontation with Claire, but she's too afraid to have me on. She just wants to, I don't know, talk about tying Jen up and whipping her, some sort of like weird lesbian BDSM session. That's the kind of woman that was restore patriarchy, is the lesbian LARPing as a Muslim. So, anyway, all right. Well, I gotta run. Talk to you guys later.
Talk to you later. I support you and Conops in the boycott.
Yep. All right. See you, man.
See ya. All right. I might have to end this thing and restart it. I might end the stream and restart it to check all my settings.
If you need help with the OBS, I can help.
So you talk again for a minute. Let's see where your audio is.
All right, can you send me the Hangouts link again? Because I'm gonna log in with my computer this time. And,
Okay. Let's do that.
Yeah, that's good.
I sent you the link again, so if you drop off, you can hop right back on.
Yeah, I trust that the link shows on the phone, but it doesn't show on the phone. Let me refresh.
It could be because people are on their phones.
Yeah, that's why. So I'm trying to go on my computer and see if it's better. And yeah, I see the link right now. Just had to refresh.
Embrace the boomer, says Conops.
All right. Is it better?
Yeah, you're up to mine. You're higher now. You're higher now.
How about now? Is it better?
No, it actually went worse again. I want you to get up to like minus 40, minus 35, because that's where the black bar on the mic aux is going.
How about now? Now is it better?
You're at minus. Yeah, now it is. I think it's better now. Just talk directly into it.
All right. So what's going on? How's everything? Is it better now? Is it cool?
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Yeah.
You're not down with this Claire disrespect. No one should be down with the level of disrespect Claire shows people. Half Galician. It's bad.
Yep.
Steva James, I feel bad for having tried to humanize Claire. I believe she was more than a soulless husk. What's funny is, like, Claire, I think on some level, maybe especially when she was younger, I think she was a physically attractive woman. She's obviously cultured. She has a beautiful way of speaking, but it covers up the fact she's got a dark heart. I mean, Why would you go into a foreign country as a foreigner and promote a religion both foreign to you and to the host country you're in? Like, I know other people have criticized me for saying this, but if I were going to teach English in a place like Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, because I almost considered doing that a few years ago, you know, I'd act like a Muslim. Like when you in Rome, do as the Romans. Like you need to integrate with the culture you move into, and the problem is these people, especially from the Islamic world that come into the West, don't integrate here. Now it's not like they aren't integrating into something that's great. I mean, Western culture is degenerate right now, so I mean, some of their hostility toward it, I don't completely, at least on the surface, condemn because like I condemn the amount of sluts, the sexual liberation, the consumer capitalism, just the filth. Um,
Yeah.
It is disgusting. I mean, isn't it disgusting, like the sexual culture of the West?
Yeah. I mean, when you kind of, it is disgusting, but well, let's face it. I mean, for us men, it's kind of, at practice, like for women, it can be something bad. For men, like they feel like something good. I mean, we all men.
Well,
It's
it's good
something
in terms of
attractive,
yeah,
but when like it's something attractive, desirable, but at the same time, it's degeneracy. So you know, this is something that you would love to do, but at the same time, it's something bad that you have to not to do it. So it's kind of like you're fighting yourself. It's a fight within inside you, fighting your desire because you cannot skip that. I mean, that's part of you. Just being a man when you see a pretty woman, you can't like resist the temptation. But I mean, you can resist it, but it's like you have to fight with yourself to win at the end. But I think if the man was able to find, like when you talk about degeneracy, like sexual degeneracy, right? That's what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah. So if a man can find someone who loves him, she loves him back, then I don't think he's gonna look for any other woman, right?
yeah,
See. So I think he's gonna be fighting himself, but he needs help in his war with himself. And the only way he can get help is by finding the right woman. And also he needs to work to be able to afford living, like having a house, etc. So they can live together and support one another and have family, like any other one. In this way, I think if a man loves his woman, then he's not gonna look for any other woman. So yeah, it's like something that we need to learn how to fight by resisting our desires and also finding the righteous companion, whether if you're a woman or man. Uh, yeah, that's it. That's how we should fight it.
I agree with that. I'm sorry that your volume is still low. I tried to turn up the mic volume directly, turn up the decibels again. To,
Well, I'm using. How about now? I'm using very, professional mic over here.
I'm using
If you can turn on the camera,
I'm using a blue mic thing, and I think it's getting a little better now.
I'm using Samsung.
I got a blue snowballs.
Samsung. I'm just gonna show you the fucking. It's very professional. It's for studios and shit like that. It's not mine. It's for the company, but I just can't use it. They said, okay, you can use our mic, so I can show you how it looks like. It's very professional mic.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's worth like 500 something, 1,000 something like that. 1,000 is a lot.
yeah, it's probably better than my $20 snowball mic.
Yeah, it's better way because it's not mine anyway. It's for the company. So yeah, I can use it. They said it's okay. Let me turn the camera.
I think people can hear you better.
See this mic?
Hold on, let me switch windows here because I'm on the wrong window.
What?
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's a much better microphone than mine. Yeah, I just have a blue snowball. But I hope.
Yeah, so I don't think that I have a problem with my mic. I think it's probably the problem is with OBS because I don't know. There's like this mic works for me all the time. It's very professional and very cool.
Well, I turned up the.
If we still have a problem, then that's probably the Hangout.
It could be. I think it's a little bit better because I turned the audio. I can hear you. I turn up the audio by about 20 decibels, and I have my I'm far away from the microphone. You seem much more audible now too. It's just weird that I'm still having sound problems.
I think you're muted or something.
Oh, I must have muted myself.
Or we both got muted.
I muted myself by accident.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here now. But I think you sound a lot better now. Sorry about the sound problem.
Yeah, I just increased the level like to the highest. The volume is at the highest right now.
Sound dials look better. I might not last on this stream much longer. I'm just too fucking tired.
Yeah, I think same here. It's very late over here. Not very late, but it's almost like 10 o'clock at night.
You know. I was thinking of you the other day because I watched a short clip of. Have you seen the documentary from 5-6 years ago that features Joseph Stalin, Idi Amin, and Muammar Gaddafi called "Day in the Life of a Dictator"?
I think so. Yeah, I think I've seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Gaddafi was a crazy degenerate, especially as he got older, and all the plastic surgeries, the women he'd recruit for his personal bodyguard / harem. He was pretty nutty, but I mean.
Yeah, well, there's no evidence about that. I mean, he would call them, he would use the same name that he uses for his daughter. So that means he sees them like if they were his daughters, probably, because Aisha is the name of his daughter. So he would call them all Aisha. So, it doesn't sound like he's banging them or something. I don't know.
It's hard to know what to believe about some of the worst crimes of Gaddafi because he was always like a public enemy. I mean,
yeah, but we see no evidence, right? I mean, I've seen no evidence. Have you seen any evidence? I didn't see any.
Yeah, I haven't seen evidence that I can verify. Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't think Gaddafi was some good guy. He's probably paranoid and a bit psychopathic, especially if you rule for that long in that hostile an environment. I mean, it does take a toll on you. I mean, and he was bombed multiple times, survived multiple assassination attempts, and then, the mistake he made was thinking he could make a deal with the United States and Britain. And they stabbed him in the back.
He's a military guy. What do you expect? He graduated from military school. What do you expect? He's going to be like Justin Trudeau or whatever, that guy. Like, no, he's not. He's going to be a fucking tough guy because he's from the military.
Well, Justin Trudeau, what a piece of shit that guy is. He somehow won another term. Oh, that woman is asking what happened to Syed Musa al-Sadr. Isn't that the Lebanese or Palestinian activist? My mic is way too loud. Okay, my So let me just go into my sound preferences and turn my input down.
I don't know who that guy is, but that's the first time I hear about him. I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he was a guy who was killed in the 1980s. You know, I'm gonna have to do a stream on the history of Libya, and you know, and then after I do my whole presentation, I'll have to bring you on to you know, analyze it and ask questions. But I'll do a whole presentation on the history of Libya under Gaddafi.
Yeah, it's simple. The history of Libya, like the modern history, is gonna be the Ottomans, then the Italians, then the British, then the king, who's actually a British puppet, and then Gaddafi, and then total chaos.
And it's been chaotic ever since, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So you got the Ottomans, then the Italians, then the British, then the king, then Gaddafi, then total war.
Yeah, it's been problematic for a while. What's up with Colonel Hiftar right now? Get down, dog. My dog is.
Yeah, that retarded. He's also an idiot. He doesn't know how to deal with the situation. He could win people in different ways, but he's retarded. Oh, I'm gonna bring some bombs and missiles. I'm gonna bomb everything until we get to the power.
Yeah.
You can't do it this way. You have to be smart. It's not all about bombing. Of course, you have to be tough, but you have to be smart too. So he's being an idiot. He doesn't know how to act. You have to win the people, and you have to be smart. You have to win the people first to get the power. Then, once you are in power, then you do whatever you want. But at the beginning, you have to show, you have to show to people what they want to see and tell them what they want to hear until you are in total control. And once you get the total control, flip the other face, and then you start being the fucking ultimate dictator and start kicking some ass. Because that's how it works over here. You have to be a fucking dictator. Other way, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to win over people first. But he doesn't know how to do that because he sounds like an idiot. He thinks I'm gonna do that with rockets and missiles and bombing. And guess what? Nobody likes that. Nobody wants war. Everyone wants peace. So
So what kind of units within the Libyan? I mean, what happened to the Libyan armed forces? You know, after Gaddafi was murdered. I mean, did they just like? Because I know he had placed some of his sons and townsmen in charge.
yeah,
Where is it now?
some of them got killed, or most of them. Some of them got jailed. Some of them fled the country, and the rest are fighting with one of these sides or other side. I don't know, maybe in both sides.
Yeah,
And some of them they just live normally right now. They are not part of the conflict, so they scattered all over the place. Like some of them dead, some of them out of the country, some of them not want to do anything with that shit. Some of them like joining the conflict right now. Some of them in jail. Yeah, and that's it.
yeah. Um, it's a mess. I mean, what's it?
It's a fucking mess. Yeah.
Saif is still imprisoned in Zintan, isn't he?
Nobody knows where he is. He's not there anymore.
I'm having all sorts of trouble with my YouTube too. People aren't coming up. It's not coming up on the subscriptions list. Someone's
Well,
asking. So people are asking me that I'm streaming, and they're like, they want to know. I'm getting several private messages saying like, yeah, I'm doing all this talking. It's been just a weird day today. It's been a weird couple days. I'm a little out of it. I'm not my normal self.
yeah, there's a lot of people that we have to deal with.
I mean, look, I mean, yes, I get angry and passionate from time to time, but, if I'm angry, it's usually righteous shit. I treat people well. Always been someone who treated people well. What wears me out more and more is, like, it's hard to find people who reciprocate good treatment, and it makes it extremely difficult. Like, that's why I'm getting the point, like, if you get on my bad side, and I'll let you know if you're really on my bad side, and even if we do cooperate in the future, because you have to cooperate with people you don't like, I just don't forgive and forget certain shit. I just don't. Because, like, certain lines you don't cross. Like Gilberto Salgado was like, I was complaining about, certain groups of people that live in Minnesota and all the crap they're doing. I have ancestors from that state.
Sorry for that.
Yeah. And I was just saying, in a few minutes. Yeah, Jen might want come on in a few minutes. So I was going to say is that, sorry, I'm just stumbling here a little bit. But anyway, I was complaining about that, and Gilbert is like, well, your ancestors pushed out the Native Americans. They don't have anything to say. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? People have been pushing each other out of the land forever. I don't want to fucking hear that argument. Because that's like turtles all the way down. Because different Native American tribes were pushing each other off the land before that. So who are you to determine the right of ownership? Possession is 9/10 of the law, and part of the problem is we're losing our possession because we're letting in, pretty rotten people. I mean, Libya doesn't have such a good relationship with the other, Muslim countries to the south and east. I mean, you've had wars with Chad and Sudan for decades. It's not that simple. I mean, I do remember, like, this is one reason Colonel Hiftar was forced out and why he became an enemy of Gaddafi. Is like he's one of those commanders that lost the Toyota War with Chad in the late 1980s. I mean, that war went on and off for like 8 years, and yeah, sometimes Libya had an advantage, sometimes Chad had an advantage, but in the end, those Toyota trucks with mounted RPGs and machine guns just kicked the ass of all those old Soviet tanks that Gaddafi had. I mean, tanks are really out of date.
It's not how, it's not what you have, it's how you use it. So that stupid Colonel, or whatever his name, Hafter or whatever, he he did that not stupidly, but he meant for the army to get fucked. He did that for a reason. He was getting instruction for somewhere, and guess what? Um, Once he failed down and he's arrested, captured by the Africans, he just got arrested suddenly by the Americans. Why the Americans are so much interested in that guy, right? Because he was their agent from day one.
Oh, you should think it was CIA even before the Toyota War.
Yeah, he was there from the beginning, and that's why Gaddafi didn't like him. They got some problems with each other, and he sold his friend, and he betrayed him. And the way he runs the show right now is stupid, to be honest. I mean, okay, I understand he's tough, he's dictator, he's kind of like he's not gonna take bullshit from nobody. I respect that. Like, you have to be tough to be able to rule, and that's cool. But you have to be smart. He's not smart enough. He doesn't have the intelligence, and that's something you don't like. You have to be smart.
Yeah, you got
Being
you.
tough alone is not enough. You have to be tough and smart. And he has a bunch of hobbyist scums and like some garbage next to him. I mean, he should kick them out of this structure if he wants people to accept him. Like, you don't have a scumbags next to you, a guy who's gonna murder people on the streets. I know, okay, you want to show people you're tough, but not now. First, you have to get to the power. Once you're there, you flip the other face, but don't do it right now. Right? Don't show the people like you're not in power yet, and you show, oh, I'm gonna burn you, I'm gonna fucking shoot you in the head. That's what he's doing. He's shooting people in the heads, which is fine. If he's gonna shoot terrorists and fucking assholes, you let him do it. I don't care. But not now. You have to wait. You have to be smart. Win the people first, and make sure you are in control of everything. and you secured everything. Once you are very much in power, like nobody can breathe or talk without you hearing him, or so therefore everybody's gonna be scared of you. Then you can just start kicking some ass, but you can't kick some ass right now. You have to be patient. Be patient. Get to the power first by winning the people, then flip the other face. But that's not what he's doing. He's showing the ugly face from the beginning, and that's very much stupid.
Yeah, that's a quick way to get people not to short circuit the ability to gain political legitimacy. I mean, we talked about this before. This is one reason why military theocracies, as I call them, where the military man is the front and military martial values are at the top. This is why they tend to fail. Is that the spiritual aspects are often undervalued, or at least winning that battle is undervalued. I mean, it's not to say that if you have a really charismatic military dictator, you can't get somewhere along that route. But charisma is not enough. You need real wisdom, and often military men lack that kind of wisdom. I mean, in the West, we definitely are going to need to restore order and protect people. We're going to need a much more authoritarian system for a while. I mean, when you have women that are this loose and crazy, an economy filled with thieves, and a society filled with degenerates, you can't do that. Um, Let me give Jen. Is it okay if Jen comes on? She's
Yes,
asking.
yes, very much.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to
Hey
give her
guys,
the link.
if you don't like Claire, then why you are going to her stream? Just don't go over there and let her park alone. Eventually, nobody's gonna go there, so the show is gonna fall down. But if you keep coming there, then another people's gonna come in, and other people's gonna come in, and she will get a lot of views and a lot of likes and dislikes and shit, and people reacting, and she's kind of likes that. So the best thing to do is just to ignore her and not go over there, and eventually she will end up streaming for 2, 3 people, and she will get booed, shut down the whole stream. Just ignore it. Don't go over there. That's it. Problem solved.
Yeah, I think we got to go. I mean, I'd follow that advice like 80 to 90%, because I think we still have to watch what she's saying and doing, because she's associated herself with some pretty bad people, like people like Ego Dick and John Vance. I mean, what kind of, like, think about it from your perspective. What kind of Arab Muslim man of some honor goes to the West and like converts to like Roman Catholicism, and like cucks for the church and is trying to get more people to get baptized? I mean, you have the exact opposite, where someone like John Vance goes to mosques and he converts to that religion and wants to convert other people. It's like, if you're in a religion where you have to go and proselytize other people, you're not focused on your own spiritual development. Like, even religions that I'm not a big fan of, and I'm not a big fan of Abrahamic religions, like the best parts of them are parts that you have to deal with yourself. I mean, I just don't think people should be proselytizing people in religion. If people want to join a religion, they should join it because they chose it, not because they were sold it. Do you know what I mean?
I agree to that 100%. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, religion is a difficult subject, and in a secularized world, we have to be very careful with quality control on all levels, because all world religions right now are in a state of some decay, right?
Yeah,
I
at
mean,
some point. Yeah.
I mean, Christianity. I mean, from by their own standards, Christianity's not doing well anywhere outside of the Eastern Orthodox world, and even there, it's not as solid as I think its adherents would contend. I mean, Judaism is what it is. Islam's becoming more feminized.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and it
There's some
hit.
noise in the background.
Let me see.
I think it's on Zewar's end. Hey Zewar, hey Gandalf. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too. Okay, the 2 guys went out and they just came here giving me some fucking noise, and eventually left. I'm sitting in a classroom, and this classroom is supposed to be sound isolator, means no sound
Oh,
comes in or out. But
oh
there's
my
two,
god.
yeah, there's 2 guys came here was talking about something, and then they left.
Yeah, I think my concern, just to address what you said earlier about Claire, like why not just ignore her, is I kind of feel like we ignore people sometimes too much and they end up being a danger to us. So that's why I don't ignore Claire, and that's why I was always going on her show for months to argue with her, and because I think we kind of have done a pretty bad job of addressing these types of people who seem so stupid, but then actually end up getting a couple of followers because people are just stupid. So I feel like it's my duty to some extent to like inoculate people against the filth of Claire Kong.
You know,
But
and
I do take your point. If none of us were going over there, the
Yeah.
stream wouldn't have any viewers, right? So I do accept you. You do have a point. I'm just it's unclear what the right strategy is exactly to me right now.
and to wit, I mean, one of the because I dealt with and then fell out with Kurt Doolittle because of bad philosophy, and I was worrying about like his Fed posting behavior. We live in a society with lots of alienated, undersexualized men who really don't have a lot of economic prospects either. And men like that are very vulnerable to bad ideologies. And a man like John Vance, to be quite honest, I mean, I've read a lot about, I'm very interested in law and order. I think I'm very fanatical about social peace and no crime, no terrorism. Right? I want placid public living for everybody where you can walk anywhere in the city and not have to worry about even getting mugged so much as dealing with crazies running around with machetes like in Claire's London. You know,
Yeah.
um,
What do you mean with under sexualized?
there's data that's come out. What percentage of men under 30 in the United States, and this is mostly white men, haven't had sex in the last year, Zuhair? Take a guess. It's almost 30%. Like, that's a lot of pent up sexual tension. And then you have 1/3 of white men in their 30s that don't have families.
Um, you said something like you said I'm against degeneracy, but wouldn't be having sex outside, let's say, family or marriage. I mean, like he's not with his wife, or he's banging sluts.
Well, a
Isn't
lot.
that against what you advocate in
Well,
the same point?
you do make a good point, but see, the problem is we need to be living in a society. I mean, look, all sex outside of marriage. I don't like using the Christian terms of purity and sin. I mean, that's an Abrahamic construct. All sex
Yeah, that's the
outside.
same thing Muslims would use.
Yeah, I mean, all sex outside of marriage, though, is just it's not optimal. Is a better way to look at it because sex should be devoted to reproduction and family as much as possible. Now, I think it's hard to demand that it exclusively be put in that direction. It's just not the nature of human sexuality to put it that way. But we need to have a hierarchy of what is good in terms of sexual behavior. And ideally, we should have a society where most men are married by their late 20s and most women are married by 20. And we're careful about helping people pair up with people they can stay together with for a long time and have a stable family life. Because what we need
Okay,
more than
so
ever is stability.
how can you resist the temptation? You go to the beach, you find women in bikinis and shit. So I mean, you cannot say no. I'm not gonna do anything. Just watch. I mean, that's fucking impossible.
Well, it's impossible to demand that of everybody. I mean, some people just lack the willpower and the impulse control. And that's,
Some people are just
How,
primitive
how's
savages.
that
They have to
possible to
cover their
control?
women up because they're going to be getting raped because there's basically nothing that can be done to stop women getting raped other than putting them in a garbage bag. That might just be a cultural thing.
Not raped, but like falling in love. Have a
The point is,
relationship.
our people have a history of walking around ass naked and not giving a shit about it, and there being no problems with rape. Other
It
people
doesn't have to go to rape. I mean, it doesn't have
Well,
to
that's
involve
the
to
point is
rape.
about modesty and to what extent one has to be modest to avoid undesirable attention from men. Correct? It's largely cultural slash a genetic
Yeah,
thing.
well,
It's a
some men,
question of
yeah.
sexual aggression, right? When people are eating kebabs all day, And
Yeah,
so
I
full
see.
of meat
Yeah.
that it oozes out of their pores, yeah, they're gonna have a hard on and be out of control rapists. That is how it is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you at some point. Yeah, because some men like fucking animals, they will just go rape the woman or sexual harassing her. Where I'm not gonna
Well,
ignore that.
that's
It's
where
true.
the
That's
state
true.
well, that's where statecraft comes in. You have to know your people well enough to know what level of statecraft they need in order to behave themselves in a way that won't destroy society, right? Because women afraid for their safety, not
Right.
a great society, is it? I don't think any because no father wants his daughter raped, right?
Right. Nobody wants nobody get raped. Not even my daughter. Not my anybody. I don't want anyone to get raped.
Right,
No one.
right.
Doesn't
So it's
matter who it
obviously
is.
on some level, it's a spiritual problem.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting, by the way, that people all become vegetarians. I'm just saying, like, we shouldn't really be surprised when people who eat tons of meat
I mean,
are
you don't
extremely sexual.
you don't have to rape the woman. I mean, you can just like try to make a relationship with her instead of raping her. But if she wants to go for it, then it's okay. I mean, if she's willingly wants to have sexual relation with someone, then it's fine. But you cannot just scoop to raping. I mean, you know,
Well,
yeah,
I think the idea is to move more towards a coverture type of situation where this fraternizing between men and women isn't really going on, frankly. I don't really think the benefit of fraternizing outweighs the risk. What do you think, Gandalf?
I agree with that. I think you should have same-sex high schools too, when people are in the rage of puberty.
no. Hold on, hold on, hold on. We've had over here. We have that. We had that. You know what's gonna happen? Men's gonna end up homos, and women's gonna end up
I'm aware of the
lesbians.
homo issue, yeah, and that again is a cultural thing. You know, you got
So
some cultures that consider getting your dick sucked by a man not homosexual, right? So again, it's got to just be realistic about cultural
yeah,
differences.
look, splitting women and boys and girls in high school, you will end up having a lesbians and homos. Don't do that.
I'm aware of the issues. That's why we have the conversations so that we can sort of because there's a lot of these situations where no matter what you do, there's going to be some undesirable side effect, which is essentially what you're describing right now. So I've thought about this, and I'm thinking it's probably most beneficial to have it be part mixed. So there's some
Yeah,
times where the women are alone and the men are alone. And I actually think this is more important for men than women. Women seem to not necessarily need a women only space, but pretty much all men are benefited from a male only space. So I
okay.
would just do like certain subjects, like I think maybe something like, let's say, physics, maybe make more sense for it just to be men, you
Hmm.
know? And with women, like some like cooking, right?
Hmm.
So that type of thing is how I'm sort of seeing it. Like, yeah, if you keep them totally sequestered, it creates unintended, like you say, there's the homosexuality thing that may be exacerbated. There's also the lack of socialization, right? Like, you don't want men and women so familiar with each other that it's opening the door to all this
Right.
degeneracy, but you also don't want them where they're at a point of speaking essentially a different language, right?
I see
So
what you mean.
it's those two
Makes sense.
things. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just more
Yeah. I know
trying to
what
make
you mean.
clear how complicated this situation really is. So it's good to hear what people think, like what their concerns are, because obviously, yeah,
Yeah, well, your plan is
I don't
nice.
like the such a focus on the sex. I don't like that.
Right. Yeah, I agree with your plan. I mean, it makes sense. Like when they are at school, like studying, you have to separate them. But like when they have a break for lunch or something, like they can't mix together and have like eat together
Yeah,
and
that
have
might actually
chat.
be that might actually be the best idea. Actually, what do you think,
Yeah,
Gandalf?
cool.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I think I think you have to have like 70 to 80% same sex classrooms, and then like 20 to 30% of the time you have to allow mixing because you need people to date
Yeah,
and court, but you need to have it.
right.
You need to have quality control on it, and that's a big
I'm pro
problem.
arranged marriages. So I'm not so much pro the dating and courting thing, but it's fine. Like I'm
I mean,
people
it's a
do whatever
beautiful
they
thing.
want, but
Let's face it. I mean, man with a woman having, you know, love relationship is something beautiful to see, right? But when it speaks
Sure.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like this. I mean, that's something nice. Why should we resist that? Why should we fight that?
Because fucking too much shit creates a situation of our selection, which creates a situation of collapse in the natural environment. So, like, if you're not instituting social programming to breed at replacement levels, you're eventually going to have a situation of an ecological collapse. So,
I'm
we
not
look at
saying
it as
like,
we look at it as a question of like basically keeping the numbers the same.
yeah,
Because
like not,
to go
not,
over or under it isn't going to be good for anybody. I mean, there's some you can allow for some fluctuation, but if a population is collapsing or exploding, we would tend to look at that as a negative.
yeah, but like you don't have too much, and you don't have none. So like it's like either no relationship or too much relationship. So we need to have like
Sure.
in the
Yeah,
middle,
I
in
get that.
between.
The way we've solved that historically is we put God at the center of society. So religion is the most important thing for people, and that makes it a little bit easier not to be so distracted by sex. And then you actually end up enjoying sex more when you have a spiritual life because
Right.
it's like you're having a threesome with God every time. Like, I know that sounds cheesy, but you do enjoy life better when you're theocratic. And it's precisely because of this reason, because you're not so enslaved to your impulses towards sex and other things,
Yeah.
which counterintuitively actually makes you enjoy the experiences even more. Like, I don't know if people can really understand that, but yeah, we look at it as a question of like ultimately these problems are all spiritual in nature. Everybody has to make an inner transition to understand their own place in society and what type of role they're supposed to play. Because I think right now people are basically like not contributing to society in a meaningful way at all. They're contributing, but they don't really understand how. They're just like working, right? There's no connection to like what they're doing and what's manifesting.
Why the relationship always have to be sex only? Why?
Well,
What about
that's the
why?
idea. It's not supposed to be about sex. You're supposed to have sex is really just supposed to be in a marriage, right? Like it's for procreation and that's the optimum. I'm not saying it's going to be like that for everybody, but that's the optimum state. So really all the rest of the relationships shouldn't be sexual. They should be either about, you know, shared interests or intellectual pursuits or religion.
Yeah, interest, feelings. I didn't hear you speak about feelings. Like you love someone. That's feeling. Something that you feel. It's not physical, but it's there. You feel it. I mean,
Sure,
maybe
and it
not
doesn't
try
have to be
that.
sexual, right?
It will go sexual anyway. I mean, you cannot just say, "Oh, I'm gonna just love her, but I'm not gonna do any sexual thing with her." It has to be sex. I mean, you cannot skip that.
No, we don't see it like that.
How come you can love a female but you cannot have sex with her? I mean, that's a kind of strange way to love. You cannot
Because
separate two things together.
what we love about each other is in the intellectual and spiritual plane. It's not really so connected to the physical plane.
It's gonna take you there, whether if you like it or not. So you will go to that point. You'll
Okay,
be,
it's part of it, but it's not the majority part of it.
yeah, it's not the majority, it's not the main part, but it's one of the main parts.
I make note.
Listen, it's an impulse. It's an animal impulse that needs to be restrained and subdued. That's how we look at it.
In general, like a lot of the incentives of this society, consumer society is about. One of the reasons that as consumer society expanded, they had to continually loosen sexual liberation. Is women drive consumption choices. Men produce, women consume. That's generally how it works economically. And the more we've liberated female sexuality, the more we've gone into debt because more people are, just whipping out their credit cards and spending things away to get sort of that dopamine rush, that quick pleasure. I mean, there's something that kind of when men are like jerking off to video porn. I mean, it's sort of it sort of just creates just this sort of like burnout from false pleasure. I mean, when you're jerking off to an image, because men are stimulated by images more than they are by, auditory or even touch. I mean, your ability to be stimulated by someone with whom you'd have sex in the flesh goes way down, and this is very damaging to women.
How's that working? I mean, I don't like the touch is gonna be like this. That's the way you explain things. It's strange. I mean, how's the picture is more, attractive, or it's gonna turn the man on. It's gonna turn it on more than a physical touch. I don't know. I don't think that's possible unless if he was with a fucking ugly woman. That's something else. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
physical touch. Go for it.
I mean, I got to look at all. I mean, on all these like sexual issues, whether feminism, homosexuality, porn. I mean, I was never big into like promoting all that stuff. I was more like, let the feminists do what they want, let the porn people do what they want, let the homosexuals do what they want. I was always very libertarian on these issues until 2 or 3 years ago, because the way that I had interpreted the condemnations of these things was their religious strictures from Catholicism and Christianity, which I was not a big fan of. And I didn't like, quoting Bible verses or church teaching and wagging your finger at people. I'm like, explain how it works. I want a more scientific approach to dealing with these things. And the more you look at the data on how to deal with these issues, it's like, yeah, you got to be conservative on these issues. You don't need to be insanely punitive, because sexuality is often a place, particularly in today's world, where people have a lot of wounding and bad, how do you want to say it? Bad programming that they're trying to overcome. It's you got to be delicate. That's all I'm saying. I've been Loon is saying I'm struggling hard with no fap November. It's been 17, 18 days for me, and it's been good. I mean, I don't think you should like never fap. I think we have to figure out, how sexuality works in a way which isn't contaminated by Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. I think that's a major, major project. And I'm just kind of beginning to think about all these things, because we're playing with fire. Because there was an article in the New York Times a couple days ago, and Eric Stryker did an article commenting on it. The amount of child porn images circulating the internet has increased by 40 times in the last 5 years, by a factor of 40. I mean, sexualizing young children is a 5-alarm fire. I mean,
why these guys in the videos who are banging children are not behind prison bars? They show their faces. People know who they are. They can just FBI, the police. They can investigate. They can find who these people are, and lock them in jail. Since when pedophilia is something legal? I mean, come on.
well, it's not legal, but it's unenforced.
But not even
I think we all know why. Is because people are making cash off this shit. They want to keep making cash. The people who run the government are all perverts too. They don't give a shit. They're slave traders, and it goes on. There's simply no mechanism to fucking stop it other than
Where's
vigilance.
the police? That's illegal, right? Where's the cops? Where's the police? Where's the FBI?
When you write the laws, it doesn't fucking matter what's legal or not. The whole system exists to fucking circumvent itself, not because it actually cares about imposing anything other than a fucking racket of extortion. Do you want to actually talk about what the stream title actually was? Because I notice we're not really talking about the stream title. It's up to you, Gandalf. But
yeah, Brundle had to go. He couldn't stay on for very long. So we were originally going to talk a lot about just Claire and the Brundle and Conop's boycott.
Yeah. So someone doing a crime in broad daylight, and everyone is watching this crime and probably enjoying watching the crime, and nobody's doing nothing to it, and they know who's the criminal.
no, they're not enjoying watching the crime necessarily.
Yeah, but like having sex with a minor is a crime, and it's punished
Right.
by the law, right? And the guy in the porn
theory,
side.
but I'm telling you that when you control the government, you don't have to follow the laws. That's what I'm saying. So obviously the stuff's going on because nobody in power opposes it.
And you see, I have a hard time just for myself. Like I consider the sanctity of children being able to grow into their own sexuality without being abused or exploited to be like a non-negotiable point. Because you need people with healthy sexuality so they can be healthy when it comes time to have a family. So they can be psychologically stable, so that they can raise their children. I mean, because if you pass sexual, look, you can beat a child, you can enslave a child, and they can come back. You sexually abuse a child, the trauma is so difficult to overcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, sexual abuse is such a. This is why, like, the Catholic Church, under its current leadership, I mean, I think maybe at least the abuse of minors has gotten better, but I mean, like, the homosexuality in the seminaries is simply out of control. And the Vatican has a higher percentage of gays within it than your average gay urban neighborhood does. I mean, this is why I told Niall, don't tell me about Catholic Church morality until you clean the catamites out of the College of Cardinals, please.
I think everybody now is doing the same thing. You'll find the Jews are doing the same thing. You'll find some Muslims, to be honest with you, they're doing the same fucking thing. They will sodomize children.
Yeah.
And the place of fortune. And that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like some kind of a fucking disease right now going on all over the place. So if I was in power, I would fucking burn these motherfuckers in public squares. I don't care. I don't care what religion rank he is. As soon as he commits this act, then he's gonna get burned.
Well, instead of talking about draconian punishments, I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to thinking about that. I think the more important thing to think about is awareness that this is going on, that we need to get people who are more responsible about curbing it to protect children. You know what I mean? That's the important thing. Who left the call? Oh, okay. Yeah, rather than talking about potential draconian punishments, I mean, I think we have to more focus right now. We got to go from step 1 to step 2. Got to focus on just getting awareness out that this is just not appropriate. It's not good for anybody. And
So you think
yeah.
he's just get away with it? Like he's gonna rape a child and that's it? He's not gonna get a punishment?
Well, we're still at the point where we don't have enough people aware of like how serious these problems are, and that's kind of my point.
Oh, okay. So let's go and rape him, and he will know then how serious it is. If he doesn't know, let's send him to that rapist, and once he rapes him, he will know, and he will find out.
Well,
He doesn't know how serious it is, right?
I'm making a slightly different point. The public is not aware of how bad this is. The public's not being informed about how serious this epidemic is.
Fuck the public. It's a fucking crime. Just gas the fucks.
Yeah, well, the problem is the people who would the people who would investigate and prosecute these crimes are not, they're not doing it, and the public needs to be able to put pressure on them for their own survival. And some people need to step up and say, "Hey, we need to be investigating and prosecuting these crimes and applying the law and justice swiftly and sharply." I mean, I think that's just a rational position. I don't know. What say you, Jen, on all this? Like, how do we approach this from a statecraft perspective?
Which part?
Getting the public aware about, the epidemic of, porn and child abuse and all of this stuff.
They're chopping up their kids in their own wombs. They don't give a shit.
Right.
Until you can get people to care about the fetuses they're aborting, to try to appeal to other moral things when they already don't care that they're chopping up their own children while alive in their wombs, is sort of misunderstanding where the root of this problem is, which is a lack of empathy, right? So you got to get people to empathize with the aborted fetuses through the mechanism of reincarnation. You have to basically get people to a point where consequences of their actions in a moral context are more self-evident. So that includes, all this, like people looking in the mirror with the whole "don't have an abortion" thing, but their own unwillingness to accept reincarnation and understanding that the argument from the reincarnation perspective and
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging that the fetus is conscious at 5 weeks goes a hell of a lot farther.
So you don't have to believe in reincarnation to understand that. It's simply
You don't have
a.
to, but you're not going to be able to defend your position very well if you
No,
don't
I
accept
am able.
reincarnation, because you're going to
Yeah.
basically saying, well, you're killing a kid, and then the people will say, well, he's not really alive because he's not born yet, right? So this is the problem when
Well,
you
that's
don't actually
bullshit. You
understand
have to
what's
understand what
actually
does.
going. Well, that's why you need the reincarnation, and that solves the suicide problem too, right? People want to commit suicide, so they try to kill themselves, but it's actually impossible to kill yourself. You just keep getting reincarnated, and it's very likely that committing suicide could lead to getting reincarnated into an abortion, because what's being fulfilled is your will to die, but it's not possible to die. But you can get killed a bunch of times, so it's like that kind of stuff. People will relate to that because they're like, shit, I don't want to be killed. Like, I don't want some doctor driving a knife into my head when I'm a 6-year-old fucking fetus, right? Like, I don't want that. So it'll stun them into the point where they can empathize with their own actions and realize, like, shit, I really don't want that for myself, so I can't in good conscience do it to someone else. Which I think is sort of, you have to get it so that the selfishness of people lines up with the consequences of their actions. You can't just appeal to these abstract moral concepts of like, well, it's wrong for these reasons, right?
How about we
They
explain
don't
it?
have any morality.
How about we explain it in a scientific way? First thing, what is living thing? What is living organism means? What's living being means in a scientific way? And all the features of a living being applies to the fetus who is being aborted scientifically. He's breathing, he's eating, he's drinking,
Well,
and
that's
he's
the
giving
whole argument, right? Is it
some.
happens at the 5 week mark.
So
Consciousness starts at the 5 week mark. That's the whole point. So if an abortion is happening post the 5 week mark, it's killing. Now that's the thing people need
look,
to. It's causing suffering. Let's put it that way. It's ending a life and causing suffering.
it's is it
Happens after 5
is the fetus considered a living being or non-living being?
That's the point. It's always alive, okay? Because when the mother has the egg, right, even before the sperm comes along, it's still living tissue. It's not about whether it's alive. It's about whether it has the capacity to suffer. Okay, and
Right.
suffering can only happen when you have a centralized nervous system, right? Because that's where the suffering is registered to. Okay, so there's no centralized nervous system in the fetus until it reaches the 5 week mark, and then when the heartbeat starts, that's the synchronization event for the consciousness. Post that event, the killing of that fetus or the ending of the life of that fetus will cause suffering to the consciousness. But before 5 weeks, it will not. So before a heartbeat is there, you can take it out and it's not really killing. So that's, I think, the difference that needs to be made, because the two positions right now of basically abortion until birth and it doesn't matter, or no abortions whatsoever, those extremes, neither is working really, right? Nobody's convinced by, or hardly anyone's convinced by, the no abortion on moral principles
It's a
argument.
killing of a living being. Let's say you're cutting a tree. A tree is a living being, and when you cut a tree, you just killed a living being. Let's say a cat. You killed a cat. It's a living being. The same thing applies for the fetus. It's a living being. It's something that breathes, eats, and drinks, and release fluids and gas out of his body through his mom. Therefore, that is a living being. So killing means taking life of a living thing, right? Whether it was a tree, an animal, or a human. Killing a tree, killing animal, killing. So you're killing a life. There's a life, and you just take it. It's not living thing anymore. It's non-living thing now, and that means you committed a crime. You killed someone. You changed the situation of that thing from a living thing to a non-living thing by a specific action. So that's what the murder is.
Greetings, Lucas. How are you?
Hey, what's going on? So you can say, I'm gonna kill a tree. Yes, you can say that. So the tree can be killed. You can say,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
nobody
kill
gives
an
a shit.
animal.
Nobody
I'm,
gives a shit. That's the
I'm,
point. It's
I'm
not
gonna.
about whether it's killing. It's about what do we have to do to make people care.
Well, if people are criminals, then they just lost their, you know, they changed to fucking evil creatures. They're just evil. The only people who live in today are evil. It's not just today, it's throughout the history. Throughout the history, the overwhelming majority of people are the evil ones, while the good ones are the minority. This is throughout the history. Going through the history of any ancient civilizations or whatever, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's something inside the fucking evil. And people who are evil and they would see someone who's not evil like them, they will fight him until he's evil like them or even worse, and they'll not stop. So the good guy is gonna be fought, and he's gonna be forced to change to an evil guy, and the good guy have to fight back. And I don't think this fight is gonna end. It's gonna continue forever and ever until like everything's over, and the good will never win over evil until the end of the times.
Well, Arya's ran the world for quite a while, and this little LARP that's been going on for a while, that's about to come to an end. And we're just going to go back to running things like we always do. Let's face it, no one else is qualified.
So everything one day is gonna come to an end. Because if you go and read about
Not everything, but certain things, yes. Beliefs, when people cease to believe in institutions, they come to an end. Because
you,
things only, the material realm is limited. Things only really have power if people believe in them, right? And when that breaks, you can't really go back. So in that sense, yes, nothing is forever, but it's not an apocalypse. It's merely a cycling, which has been going on for a very long time. There are certain things that are, they're metaphysical.
So you suggest that I was reincarnated before?
Yes, I do, and everybody else has been reincarnated many times.
Or how come I don't remember?
Just because your own personal journey hasn't led you to the point where you have been able to remember your past lives, but eventually you will.
It's about improving yourself.
Maybe I can think of the reincarnation in a different way. Let's say there's a person who died and worms gonna eat him and he's gonna change into carbon and nitrogen. And then a planet it's gonna grow and it's gonna feed on that carbon and nitrogen and another guy is gonna eat it and
That's not what a man is. A man is not this is his body. The body is what the soul of man, which is the eternal part. The body is the non-eternal part. The body is like
but that's not
that's
not
resistant structure of your soul, but it's not equal to your soul. And when your body dies, your soul will not die. And that is what will become reborn. Your personality is inborn. That's before I asked you if you think you are a mashup of your parents, or if you think there's something more to you than just your parents, and you agreed with me there was something more to you than just your parents. So where does it come from? It either comes from God or reincarnation. So which one of those two is more likely?
God is the starting point, like where everything started. It's like the 0 point. So this is where everything comes from.
Yes, but that's only the impersonal God, which is more akin to the forces of nature than an actual man.
Not a man, but like it's a god, but also it's not a man.
It has no human personality, though.
Right. Yeah, of course. I agree with you 100%.
No anger, no vengeance, no wrath. It's simply that which is. That is what it is in the metaphysical sense, but in the more pragmatic sense, your past self reincarnated with whatever material was available when it came time for you to reincarnate, which is
Okay,
usually 20 years.
where all that came from? I mean, like the first thing, like you would say,
Uncreated. It was always there, just like God.
where did it came from? Like
Nowhere. It
there's
was
nothing
always
like
there. It
nothing
doesn't
comes
have a
from
beginning.
nowhere.
It has
Can
no
you
beginning.
can
Beginnings
you
and ends. Beginnings and ends are human constructs that the universe doesn't abide by. The universe has no beginning and no end because it is the infinity, which by definition is boundless, and a beginning and an end. Those are bound.
if I give you the nothing, can you get something out of the nothing? Like I give you nothing, like
The fact that we're
the
having this
nothing.
conversation means we can get
You know,
something out of something else, right?
no, what we have over here is the data that's stated in the universe, and your brain is processing the data that's there. And this data, whether if you heard it from a book or you heard it from someone, it's something that's saved in your mind, and your mind is just processing it. And it just gives the signals to your vocal cords, to your neck muscles to move, and it will move your vocal cord, and the air is gonna go there, and the whole story about vibration and how the air moves, like
Yeah, you're
this
making it
story.
sound like the body is just a machine.
It's a
There's a
machine.
central. It's not. There's a centralized consciousness,
There is, and
right? So that's not a machine. A machine doesn't have a centralized consciousness. It has
it's
a
a half
series of
machine.
commands. It has a series
Half,
of commands that it executes. We don't have that.
it's
We have a
half a machine.
centralized
You have a
processor.
functions.
We have a
So
centralized processor that has several
right,
nodes.
right,
They're all emanating from the same central node.
right. So you have like the sensor mode and you have the motor mode. Node. I mean, the sensor nervous system and the motor nervous system. So, the nervous system, the sensor nervous system is going to receive signals from outside environment
Yeah,
or
yeah. And
inside environment.
we're only focused on the central processor because the central processor is the thing that reincarnates. The muscle twitch fiber doesn't reincarnate. It's something that is recreated each time you reincarnate.
You're going to reincarnate, I believe, once. Like you're going to die and
No, as
reincarnate
many times
again.
you reincarnate as many times as you have to reach enlightenment, which for most people is a lot of times. Most people have no idea what enlightenment even is, let alone reaching it, which most people fail at.
In the Abrahamic literature, they say like the guy is gonna be like before he born, God's gonna ask him questions and stuff like that, and he would say like yes, I want to be in this life, and then he's gonna come to this life. So he was somewhere else, but then he's gonna come to this life, and then he's gonna die, and then he's gonna come back to life again in the judgment day. And after judgment day, like he's gonna be into hell or heaven for eternity.
There's nothing like that. That's not real. There's no judgment. The only judgment you're going to get is from people like me.
What if it was there? Then what's gonna happen to you?
There is none. It's not there.
What
It's
if
only something people believe in, but believing in something isn't enough to make it real.
what if am I gonna risk being in hell? Like I'm gonna say, oh, okay,
Hell,
if there
hell
isn't,
is, hell is a non-ending Claire stream. Okay, hell is this. This is hell. If there's a hell, this is it. It's the
yeah, I think so.
not remembering the stuff you already learned and took
Hell
so
on
much time
earth.
to learn in your past lives and not remembering it and having to go through the same conversation over and over. That's kind of hell, isn't it? It's not a hellfire, but in a way,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
torturous, right?
Like, yeah, what I look
That's our view of hell. Hell to us is reincarnating and just getting stupider every time.
That's funny.
That's the truth. That is what I fear, because I already see it happening through people's lifestyle choices and partner choices, that they're creating a situation where the state of consciousness is going to be horrible, and they're not going to have any way out of it.
How many people in the United States of America believes in the reincarnation right now?
It doesn't matter, because once I have enough people who believe exactly the same way as I do, I will simply mass hypnotize everybody else into accepting it.
So you
It's
just
called the
looking for
100th
power.
monkey effect. It's called the 100th monkey effect, and I can do it single-handedly. So if I have 100 people, imagine what I can do then.
So you're looking for power, I think, over people. So you want to start a religious
Everyone's looking
cult?
for power. Everyone's looking to get their will to be done. and their
I don't
kingdom
look
to
for
come.
that.
Everyone
don't-
wants that, yes, in one way or another.
No, I don't want that. Just want to be left alone and don't people not to come fuck with me. And if they fuck with me, I want to be like I'm gonna be able to fuck back, like beat them back, not let them, screw me, not let them, be
Yep,
assholes.
I'll let you do that under my system. You can have your honor system, and I'll let you enforce it. So won't have any problem.
Like self-defense, totally.
Self-defense and more. I'll allow even more than self-defense. I'll allow a ban on the promotion of false ideology, and I'll allow a warrior class. I would like to restrict weapons to the warrior class, but I understand that has issues with the history of gun confiscation. So can only work with what you have, really.
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna buy an island and start your own clothes and shit over
Yeah,
that
I'm gonna
island?
buy an island called Earth.
Alright. Where is it located?
In the solar system of the sun.
That doesn't make sense. I mean, how are you gonna get the spaceship and travel outside?
No.
How's it gonna work?
This is it. This is the island.
Is like the American government's gonna let you, like, you take
Well,
an
why
island
not?
to fly
They
to
fucking
the,
suck. They fucking suck. Why wouldn't they?
they will put you in jail or mental care unit.
Oh, right. Yeah, sure.
They will let you get away with it if there's something that they don't like and you're trying to preach to the masses. Definitely, they're not gonna like it. Either you're gonna get assassinated or jailed or
Why are you fucking telling me this, dude?
put in. That's what they're doing.
Why are you fucking telling me this, dude?
I'm just telling you. Stay safe.
I think Zuhair, I think where he's coming from on this, if I read you correctly, is you are concerned with the arbitrary repressiveness of kind of our society and regime, and that's not an unfounded fear. But I don't think anything that's going on here is tied to that. That's all I'm saying. And so I'll back Jen on that. Though I think your question comes from good faith. I mean, you're right. Yeah.
It's not my problem, but I do have a different way of thinking, and I respect your way of thinking, but I do have a different.
Yeah, that's fine, and it's important to explore different ways of thinking. I don't look at, if everyone's coming in good faith with a method of like, let's dig down, let's explore, let's explode away the false veneers and try and get down to the kernel of things. You can get very far in things, and that's important. You want to boil things down. You want to wipe away the.
I just don't remember. Maybe you're right, but maybe you're wrong too.
Well, I mean, the best proxy evidence for it, and this is where I found Jen's argument most interesting, and I have a hard time thinking that her intuition was wrong when I first encountered it, is reincarnation is just an extension of like the conservation laws in physics, the conservation of mass and energy. Well, if the human body involves mass and energy and is bound by the laws of physics and the habits of nature, why wouldn't our souls, which operate on a different plane but are still bound by laws of physics and habits of nature, also be subject to conservation of mass and energy? To me, I'm sold on reincarnation. It's the most sensible doctrine out there. It makes a lot more sense than, we're, you know, we go to heaven with St. Peter and the pearly gates, and we just stay, staring at the beatific vision for all of eternity, and we don't do anything. I mean, that seems a lot more crazy to me than reincarnation. Reincarnation fits with the laws of physics and habits of nature. I mean, my test is always, does this fit with the laws of physics and the habits of nature? I use those two talking points because if you drill down to those things, it's like, this is why the promotion of things like Noahide laws. Are Noahide laws dictated by the laws of physics and habits of nature? No, they're not. They're found in some stupid holy book. I mean, who knows if a holy book is real? Oh, because the holy book says so. Well, that's recursive, and there's no sort of correspondence test to other things that we can see outside of the holy book. This is why, like, holy book religions, or at least basing your religion on a holy book alone, is a goofy way of approaching things.
The no-hide law.
Yeah, I'm extremely against Noahide laws being imposed. I mean, it's ridiculous.
No hide. There's nowhere to hide. No.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, or at least that's the way the people in certain cults, particularly those tied to Chabad, want it to be. I mean, Chabad's an extremely dangerous end times cult. I mean, they're not even liked by other Abrahamists. Yes, it is a Jewish end times cult, but they're not even liked by other Jews. I mean, there's lots of conflicts within various schools of Jewish thought about Chabad, and Chabad's not well liked among other schools of Judaism. I mean, like when you talk about Abrahamism, like this goes for certain sects of Christianity and Islam too. I mean, there's lots of rivalries and different interpretations of these things, even from within their own perspectives. Myself, I prefer that we just not have anything, at least as Europeans, to do with these cults. I think these cults are all just kind of dangerous for us. In the last 2,000 to 5,000 years, well, we do.
Yeah, there's only one way to interpret the truth. The truth doesn't change. All these other things that go on with their fairy tales are constantly changing, being reinterpreted, and yada yada.
Yeah, and I don't like that. I prefer. Maybe there can be like. There's only kind of one general way of looking at the truth, and like these religions get reincarnation wrong, they get the nature of God wrong, and they're not a stickler for studying physics and nature. So, I mean, the only reason that Catholicism, for instance, can even claim to have any relationship to natural law is because Thomas Aquinas spent his life shoehorning Aristotle into Christian theology. And it sort of prevented Christian theology for a couple centuries from totally imploding upon itself. But it was an artificial introduction. And Aristotle is not totally authoritative on the laws of physics and habits of nature. That's just not. Okay, the audio is too low. Let me fix that bubble vis. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of just my general point on it. Why can't I get this audio to go back up? Hold on 1 second. Let me get this back to where it should be. Anyway, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to let Bruno on if he's emailed me. And then I'm going to say goodbye because Bruno the Doberman.
Italian stallion. Yeah, I'm about to go now. It's too late over here. Thank you for having me in your live stream, and I'm sorry, Jennifer. I didn't mean to upset you or say anything bad. Like,
I think our conversation actually went better today than it did last time, so it was nice to talk to you, dear.
Yeah, me too. Like, it was fantastic. Yeah, just if I said anything stupid, just like this, sometimes say stupid shit.
You didn't. Don't worry.
No, Zuhair, you didn't say anything stupid. Actually, you asked a lot of questions that a lot of people need to have more bravery to ask.
Yeah. So, thank you very much, and have a nice day. And I hope we talk soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's very beneficial to be in this stream. All right, take care. Bye.
Bye, dude. Yeah, just to come back to what Rick said, like, I can relate to. Okay, here's how I kind of frame it. It's like, imagine getting BTFO'd as horribly. Like, what would you say is the worst BTFO I ever gave someone?
Claire in the debate. No, that debate. No, that debate with Claire on the nature of God being personal or impersonal. I mean, if you flatten something better with a steamroller, I don't know how you can do it.
That reminds me of that meme, Gandalf.
Which meme?
The steamroller meme. Have you forgotten it all?
Oh yeah, the steamroller meme. That's a great meme. Okay, that meme. Oh Lord.
Anyway, this is something I really like. It's one of my principles. I don't want to have any regrets. I understand I'm going to have regrets, but it's like whenever they happen, I don't want to lose the lesson, so that like I don't want to regret the same thing twice, basically, type thing. And the thought of losing a debate that badly, right? That's a fear I have. I really don't want, because I would regret that a lot, right? So it's like, only by doing the true religion can you avoid that actually ever happening. If you don't, that will eventually happen to you. Very regrettable.
Yeah, I mean, we need good and true religion. It's very, very important. I mean, our people are lacking, a certain sort of spiritual center, and you see so many people of European descent wandering around in our societies, and they have this vacant look, like they're hurting, and they don't know that they're hurting. So watching it is very unsettling, to say the least. And we have to fix that. Like, a lot of people think, oh, we just need to. I mean, I've sometimes thought this myself, so I'm not absolving myself of being wrong on this. But, if we just get a Pinochet in there and we just, wipe out all the people we need to get rid of, that's going to fix it. It's like, no, I mean, that might do some good in the short run, but it might end up hurting us even more in the long run because we're not solving the spiritual crisis first. Political reformation and spiritual reformation have to occur in tandem. They need to help one another. But the spiritual reformation needs to be the primary part. And we need to get more people on the side of, we need to get our spirituality right. Do you agree with that, Jen?
Well, of course, that's been my position the whole time. Like, the material revolution, quote unquote, means nothing. The spiritual revolution is everything. And it's an ongoing thing. Like, I'm trying to get out from under the boot of this thing for like hundreds of years.
Yeah, and if not hundreds, thousands.
And we still don't even have people on the same fucking page as to what the problem is. Because it's just not something that's easy to put your finger on.
No, it's not. It's not easy to put your finger on it. It's a difficult thing to put your finger on. And I mean, I literally am. I'm obsessed with this problem. Like, I think about it 24/7. Like, I don't think about, to the detriment of, like, taking care of myself. It haunts me. Seeing our people suffer really bothers me.
Right. Well, you have to understand, that if you're neglecting yourself, you're making the same mistake as the ginas, or the vaginas, as I like to call them.
True.
Obsessed about bugs. I don't want to step on a bug. I'm stressed out. Poor bugs. And, to that I say, if you don't do something, eventually you're going to get genocided by someone else, and who's going to take care of the bugs then?
And my little pit bull is trying to get in my lap, and she's looking like, you love yourself, and she wants to give me a big kiss, and she's wagging her tail.
Yeah, just don't float away, man.
I won't float away. But,
so what does Bruno want to talk about? Does he want to come on and start pissing on Claire?
If anyone wants to piss on Claire, they're welcome. That's the number one thing.
Welcome to the Pissing on Claire Hugbox stream. If you feel the need to piss on Claire at any point in the stream, you may feel free to interrupt the conversation to do so, and you'll never be counter-signaled.
You can poop on Claire, too. You can throw up on Claire. You can do anything you want in this chat.
Some people might not be able to stop themselves.
It might not be able to. It might be really gross.
Well, Claire brings the best out of everyone, doesn't she?
You know, I want to get along with people. So on some level, I hate all these conflicts, but on another level, it's like you just got to have them. I'm still trying to
Yeah, I
fix
don't
the
have a problem
sound.
with that, Gandalf. I feel the same. I like to get along with people, but when they're vile, evil, creepy, slimy things, I don't have any desire to get along with them.
Yeah, neither do I. Neither do I. Well,
Nothing in the Claire clan appeals to me.
and she's streaming, and more people are going on. Like I don't know. The more I think about it, Conops and Brundle are right. We just gotta, as much as we can, avoid her. Maybe a couple of us need to keep an eye on her. But I mean, I look at someone like John Vance and Ego Dick as very dangerous people. Like if I was someone profiling someone who I thought could be a threat to public order, I would look at those two among. Um, they'd be at the top of my list. But anyway,
I just want to come back to something. Hopefully, this will permeate the balloon of your consciousness, Gandalf. The system endures because it puts a lot of money into making itself appear legitimate. So that is what we should dissuade people of, is belief in this legitimacy by pointing out the cracks. And in addition to that, if you want to get a shorthand of reading people rather than wasting time getting to know people for months only to realize they're shitbags, just look at how they react to Claire and to me. Because Claire is a piece of shit. So anyone who has sympathy to Claire has bad judgment, right? And the way people describe me is essentially how they feel about themselves or God, depending on what the nature of the criticism is. So, I want to get a couple of Socratic points in there.
well, sometimes it's always good to have a someone to compare something against. And comparing against Claire, I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, you're basically comparing yourself against a centipede that if you cut off its legs or one of its heads, it grows more of them. I just got to create a picture of her as a monster you're trying to slay, and she keeps coming back. Got to use a mythological metaphor. I mean, there's a reason, like, slaying monsters is such a big part of, all sorts of religious epics within our family of traditions. Like killing the Cyclops, killing the Hydra, Hercules strangling the snakes. But anyway, I think I'm just tired and I'm just not myself fully. So if you don't mind, I might close the stream down because I'm just worn out. I'm sorry, Bruno. I think we'll talk. I'm still having a bit of trouble with the sound. Even still, people are complaining about it, even though I've, did everything you told me to fix it. I don't know, and I'd better deal with that later.
No problem, man. Thanks for talking, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks to everyone in the chat. Sorry about the sound issues. I appreciate all the subs. Appreciate all the support. I'm about being a supportive, caring motherfucker, even if I am an asshole sometimes. But I'm a nice asshole, I guess. But love you all. Have a great day. And ciao.